Russia calls it a stab in the back after Turkey shot down a Russian warplane near the Syrian border.
The clash is amping up tensions in an area and muddying the waters in the fight to stop ISIS. KCAL 9's Bryan joins us now with details on this growing powder keg.
The fallout is probably that any hopes of creating this allied coalition where both Russia and Turkey would be partners, it ain't going to happen now. Once the Russian warplane was shot down and as many as 3 Russians were believed to have been killed, this turned into a bitter war of words between Turkey and Russia, 2 countries the U.S. was hoping to bring into the international coalition to destroy ISIS. Now they may be shooting at one another. Turkey says the Russian warplane invaded its airspace, and after 10 warnings with no response, a Turkish fighter jet shot it down. This video appears to show the aircraft's fiery descent crashing down in northwest Syria. Turkey's radar map shows where the plane took a shortcut and momentarily crossed through Turkish airspace before it was destroyed and crashed on the Syrian side of the border. Both NATO and U.S. trackers said the plane did cross into Turkey, but Russia says that never happened. Russian President Vladimir Putin, visibly incensed, called Turkey's action a stab in the back and called the Turks accomplices of the terrorists. It wasn't the first time the 2 countries disputed that issue. Turkey had already warned Moscow about violating its airspace, and despite the warnings, it charges Russian planes did so twice last month.
The Russians may have thought that the Turks weren't serious, but they found out today that they were. It's a tragedy. It's not something, obviously, that the United States wants to see happen.
President Obama sided with the Turks.
Turkey, like every country, has a right to defend its territory and its airspace.
Former National Security Council Director for Russian Affairs, Nick Burns, told CBS Evening News anchor Scott Pelley
it was a gross violation of international law for the Russians even to fly close to that border, but to cross it, that's a red line that can't be crossed. They say that they want to attack and defeat ISIS, but they're not really fighting ISIS.
A Syrian rebel group, which the U.S. and Turkey supports, but the Russians had attacked from the air, posted this video, which appears to show the body of one of the Russian pilots after he was allegedly killed by gunfire from the rebels on the ground when he parachuted out of the crashing plane. Moscow claims it's attacking ISIS, but the U.S. says it has also bombed moderate Syrian rebels who are trying to overthrow Syrian dictator Bashar al-Assad, whom the Russians are trying to prop up. These new developments come as the Western allies have been unleashing massive air attacks on trucks transporting oil in ISIS-occupied territory, which they say is financially fueling their campaign of worldwide terrorism. But USC Professor Patrick James, director of the Center for International Studies, told me this is not likely to bring about the defeat of ISIS.
I find this to be a disturbing instance of a lack of grand strategy on the part of the leader of the Western coalition. Often, from day to day, the policies lurch back and forth, and that is not going to fix this problem.
Well, Professor James says this incident will, in all likelihood, kill the notion that the U.S., Turkey, and Russia could all join in an allied war to destroy ISIS. James says even if the shootdown hadn't occurred, it would have probably taken nothing short of an Independence Day invasion of space aliens to bring about that coalition with Turkey and Russia on the same side, Juan.
All right, Dave, thank you. The French president